Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. We're pretty excited about this virtual open house. Myself and three of my team members are hosting you today. And then I have another team member who joined us for fun. So we'll each introduce ourselves, and then besides telling you our name, where we're zooming from, we're going to tell you a fun stamping fact about ourselves. So I'm going to start. Again, most of you know me, I'm Brenda Cardinal. I have been a demonstrator since 1997. And if you do the math, it matches my pin that says 25 years here. So I got my pin. Amazing. From Santa Fe, as most of you know, I lived most of my life in Minnesota until 3 years ago. And the fun fact about me with stamping is that I was at a little store in White Bear Lake called Country Goose many years ago. And I walked in and I saw rubber stamping. And I thought, oh my goodness, I can color again as an adult, and it'll serve a purpose. I can make cards to send to friends and family. So that's how I got started. So anyways, Gina, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Yes. Hi, everyone. I am Gina Wieselman. I am also from Minnesota originally, but around the same time that Brenda moved, I also moved to Dallas, Texas, and that is where I still am. I have been a demonstrator since 2014, but my fun stamping fact is that I actually started stamping like pretty seriously in middle school and had kind of a side business selling cards. But we went to Colorado and visited a family friend, and the mom was a demonstrator and I just couldn't get enough. So I'm happy to see and meet all of you.
I'm Lori Camps. I'm from Hugo, Minnesota. I've been a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator for 4 years now. And I don't know if I have a favorite Stampin' fact, but I will say my favorite in color this year is Parakeet Party.
Hi, I'm Sue McNeil. I live in Eagan, Minnesota. I've been a demonstrator for about 14 years and a stamper with Stampin' Up! For about 30 years. And the guest that I invited today is the one who actually introduced me to Stampin' Up! And I hope she gets to join us soon. I love stamping. I have 3 different classes a month. I'm constantly looking at new cards and sharing ideas. I think that's the best part about Stampin' Up! Is that the community loves to share their ideas. And so all of you can take advantage of checking in on demo websites or on Facebook and getting lots of new ideas too.
Excellent.
2 more today.
Yeah, 2 more today, right. So most of you got a packet from us, and it included several things. It included a wish list, so keep that handy. So as you see things, you can write them down that you might like, or you can use the backside to jot notes on. We'll be doing, you got a bingo card. So if you haven't filled out your bingo card, make sure you do that, because we're gonna get started with playing bingo right away. Remember, it's for prizes, so you want to make sure you have it filled out. We're going to be doing a walking tour through the catalog. We'll do 2 make and takes, and we have 2 demonstrations. And I wanted to tell you right off the bat here, we're going to stay about 15 minutes after the event in case there's some questions that you guys might have. We'd be happy to answer them. Although you're welcome to ask questions along the way. We're going to pretty much keep you guys on mute so that there's, no background noises and so forth, but certainly take yourself off mute. You can write messages in the chat if you want to. Gina's going to monitor the chat for us. So if you have something that comes up, go ahead and use that as well. And we'd like you to stay on screen if possible, especially when we do our make and takes, because that way we can see when people are done and they're ready to move on to the next step.
Go ahead and open up right away to page 3. We know, this catalog is almost 200 pages long. It can be a little overwhelming. So we're just going to draw your attention to some of the key sections, some of the key products, just a few different things that have caught our eyes. So right away on page 3, the reason I had you open there is because it's the table of contents. So of course, that's going to be your quick reference to finding different sections in the catalog. I really appreciate that the product suites, which are the full sets of stamps and dies or punches and paper and coordinating embellishments. Those are all listed by page number there as well, which is really nice. The other thing to note on page 3 is the catalog icons. That right there is a key. So as you see those icons throughout the catalog, if you forget what they mean, you can flip back here to page 3 to double check. So the N represents a new product. It's brand new to this catalog. There are a few different ones. The little clock, I think, is great to pay attention to because it's a quick and easy project. So if you're looking for a card where you want to just be able to put something together or a project, that's a good place to look for that little clock icon. Moving right along to page 10, pages 10 and 11. This is where we see information about the kits. So at the bottom of page 10, you can see some of the options for the paper pumpkin kit, which is the monthly kit that's shipped to your house. There's a month-to-month option, or you can do a prepaid subscription. With either of those options, you can skip a month at any time with just a few simple clicks online. And that's a really great option if you want something to come to your house. It's designed, it's a fun surprise. I love getting my kit every month. So that's really fun. But if you don't want the surprise element, or you want a whole bunch of kits at once, or you want to pick and choose, the kits collection on page 11 lets you actually pick the specific kits that you want to order. Now, you probably notice that there aren't like specific item numbers on that page. And that's because Stampin' Up! Kind of has a rotating selection of kits. So there's a kit available, and once it's sold out, it's gone. And they aim to bring in a new kit every month or so. So it's a constantly revolving set of options. And that website on page 11, stampinup.com/kits, is the best place to go to get the current offerings. One super important note about kits, the kits collection is buy one, get one 50% off in June. So throughout the rest of this month, if you're looking to stock up on some kits, it's the perfect time, because I don't know that you're going to get a better deal than that any other time of the year. Just flip to the next page, 12 and 13. This is the Tea Boutique suite of products. And I want to just highlight a couple of things. First of all, this term suite refers to a set of coordinating products, like I mentioned before. So they're all designed to go together and to coordinate perfectly. And in this case, on pages 12 and 13, the Tea Boutique suite features a stamp set, dies, designer series paper, and a cute set of cards and envelopes that coordinate with the colors. If you love this suite or any of the suites, one really nice thing is that Stampin' Up! Has assigned a single item number for the whole suite. So kind of like at McDonald's, you can say, I want the number 2. If you type in the number 158670, which is at the top, you can order that whole collection of products. Of course, you can also order them separately if you want to do that. But if you do that approach, remember that when you buy the bundle, which is just the stamp set and coordinating dies, or in other cases, the coordinating punch, that's discounted by 10%. So instead of buying stamp set and dies separately, bundling those together will save you a little bit of money as well. Last note about this suite, it features the new 2022 to 2024 in colors, which Lori will discuss more in her Make and Take project. But she mentioned Parakeet Party was her favorite. So you can see that kind of lime green color on the middle of the page there. as well as other brand new colors. Last piece from me on this catalog tour is on page 38. And this is the Charming Sentiments bundle. Now it's a bundle because it's a stamp set and coordinating dies designed to coordinate perfectly. But this is a really unique set that I honestly didn't notice at first how unique it was. I thought, oh, a bunch of greetings, that's great. But the really cool thing, and it's the first time I think Stampin' Up! Has done this, the set of dies coordinates with all of these greetings. So you can die cut around these greetings exactly. And I just think that makes for some wow factor on your cards. And the other nice thing is that the set of dies, although it's a lot of greeting options, it also includes like birthday candles and hearts and stars and some other decorative elements. So I just think with that bundle, it would be really easy to pull together some really pretty cards. And with all the colors, the options are really endless there.
We're going to move on, and Sue McNeil is going to do a presentation for you, or a demonstration for you on the soft pastels. Now, the soft pastels are not brand new. They are something that's been in the catalog before. I think they were in for the first time. And for those of us who've been around a long time, we've had chalks before, so we know what that's all about. But Sue has some really fun ways to use them. So she's going to show you some fun ways to use those, I should say. Go ahead, Sue.
All right, here are your soft pastel assortments. It's number 154585, and they're $9. And the assortment is lovely. You get Coastal Cabana, Daffodil Delight, Gorgeous Grape, Granny Apple Green, Mango Melody, Night of Navy, Poppy Parade, and this is Mossy Meadow. And they come in these lovely brick sticks. And the tools that I'm going to use today that I would suggest you get just because you're a stamper is this wonderful silicone mat, which is 127853, and it's $6.50. This is what you put your cardstock on when you're putting your glue on, or especially when you're using your liquid glue, so that it goes on the mat, not on your stamping surface. And this easily washes underwater. I just run it in the sink. The other one is this wonderful tool called the Take Your Pick tool. And it comes with, I believe, 6 different ends. This one, when you open the box, it will have this sharp pointed end. But you take that off and put this back in and give it a little twist so it doesn't come out, because we need the spatula end. When using these pastels, the first way you can use them is direct to paper. And you just color something on and take something like, a sponge dauber. And if it was a bigger area, you might want to take your blending brush to make a nice background. And if you have a smaller image, you might want to just take a Q-tip, and you can either rub it on there, or you can just rub it direct and put it on your image. But be sure and blow, because there are extra pieces there because it's chalk. That's one way you can do it. And let me go to the next one. And I'll tell you about the ink. You use Memento ink and you use StazOn ink for images. Memento is water-based. StazOn is alcohol-based. So I wanted to do an example of StazOn, which is alcohol-based with water. So I just have a small water here. I'm just going to grab a brush that I have. And come on, Sue. There we go. This is why you need this. You're going to scrape to get your chalk off to use it with a brush and with water and alcohol. There's kind of a shiny surface on here, and when you're scraping, you get rid of that, and that is very helpful when you want to do direct to paper. You don't want the shiny part. And I'm going to put another one over here, one for alcohol, one for water. All right, now let's try this one again. Stays on ink for the image with water. So I'm just going to put some water down here, a little puddle, and then take some of my chalk. And if I want it darker, I'll do it over here with less water. And I'll start painting. Want it darker still, pull in some more chalk and paint. If I want it lighter, for lighter color, and do some shading, just go back and pick up some water.
Nice.
You can certainly do this on watercolor paper also. I have some samples of the different elements and what you're going to use. And I'm going to grab a paper towel to wipe this off from the water. And I'll show you what it looks like with Memento ink and alcohol. So now we have direct to paper, we have with water, and now we're going to try it with alcohol. And again, I think a puddle works well. And this is just an old container, and I put some alcohol in there. I'm using the 91%. For this project, you could certainly use the 70, which is easier to find. But I like to use the other one. So Memento ink with alcohol, because the ink is water-based, so you want to use the opposite to put your color on. And I really, really enjoy using the alcohol. I think it blends lovely. It goes on very nice. And if you're a new stamper and you don't have a lot of tools, all you need is a paintbrush and your alcohol and your water and this $9 set of colors, and you get a great way to color images on your cards. And there's one other technique I'd like to show you. I've never used it. And that is using another ink. This is Versamark. Whoops, Versamark. Just a plain ink, no color. Stamp it on your image. Put that over there. And now you could certainly use, this is a kind of a detailed stamp. You could use certainly dauber, but I like to do it a little more delicately. So I'm going to go direct to my ink, or my chalk rather, and color it on. And you're going to get this very, very subtle, lovely color. Maybe we'll make this a blue flower. And you can go outside the lines because it kind of adds something to the image, I think.
So Sue, we're having a little difficulty seeing that. There we go. It's a little hot. Back it up just a little bit more for us. There you go. Yep.
New camera, I'm learning. So again, this is direct from your chalk to your Versamark. And I really like this a lot. So those are 3 ways to apply color to paper. And I'm using just the basic white paper. But for this, I did this card front using Versamark ink and just Q-tip. I think that's such a soft, lovely image. I really like that a lot. And then I think I'm going to put some paper towel on here so we don't get things too mucked up. Here's an example of stays on ink with water on watercolor paper. Memento ink, alcohol on watercolor paper. Here is stays on ink with water. Whoops. Get these out of the way now. Memento ink with alcohol. Again, water-based ink, alcohol, liquid. Stays on ink, which is alcohol-based, you use water. And I can show you stays on ink with alcohol, and you're going to get this bleeding. So you don't want to put alcohol with alcohol. And I think I have another example I was going to show. Well, that's fine. Here we go. That one, oh, here we go. You have blender pens. So I tried it with a blender pen, but if you can see right here, it's starting to ball up on the paper. It's ruining the paper. So I wouldn't suggest using a blender pen. This one is Memento ink, water ink with water. And you can see all the bleeding. So you don't want to do that either. And to help you remember what I've been demonstrating, you are going to receive the Soft Pastels assortment handout after our presentation today. So I hope you'll try Soft Pastels. It's really fun.
All right, our next presentation is actually by Lori, and she's going to show you how to put together your sweet songbird make and take.
So we're going to be making the little sweet songbird using the stamp set Sweet Songbirds with the coordinating punch, which is the Songbird Builder Punch. You can purchase these separately or together and save 10%, as you all know. So I'm hoping you're gathering your envelope containing the parakeet or the Sweet Songbird pieces that were sent by your demonstrator. You'll also need liquid glue, dimensionals, and I think that's all you'll need. Oh, and adhesive of your choice. This card also features Stampin' Up's new 2022-2024 in colors. Parakeet Party, Sweet Sorbet, Starry Sky, Orchid Oasis, and Tahitian Tide. These are nice, bright colors that really go well together, and I think you're going to like them. The 2022-2024 in color collection is on page 122 of your catalog, and it includes the ink pads, the in color paper, cardstock, I should say, all the cardstock, designer series paper, shimmer paper, and these are, of course, 6x6, your matte dots, twine, not twine, what do we call this? Baker's twine, yeah. And the metallic woven ribbon in all 5 colors. So now we'll get ready, and we're going to start by assembling the songbird. So in your packet, you'll want to find your little songbird pieces. So it's a little birdie like this. You should have a little breast, a beak, and 2 wings. For this, we're going to use liquid adhesive. So start by finding your sweet sorbet breast piece. We're going to add liquid glue to the back. And the liquid glue, you don't need a lot. And keep in mind, if you put too much, it will kind of goosh out. So a small amount is always better. And then he gets applied to the bottom of the bird like so. Oh, you
Could
can't
you
see
move
it,
it
can
up
you?
a little bit?
Sorry.
There you go.
All right. After we get the breast piece on, we're going to add a small amount of adhesive behind the large wing. The large on the back of the large wing. And then it will get us attached so it meets up with that notch of the on the breast. You know what I just realized, you guys? I'm using the back of my bird. You should be using the front of your bird that has the eyes stamped on it.
Thank you, Lori.
I thought you were just backwards.
Well, I am. I apologize. Let's see if I can.
Bet you
fix
can
mine.
still remove those.
I'm hoping. Usually liquid glue gives you a little bit of time.
Yeah.
So we'll see if I can. No, I'm not going to, but I can. All right, let's try this again. Put a little glue on. Oh, but now my glue is going to be on the wrong side. Well, my bird isn't going to get a breast. That's all. It's going to make it tough. So we attach the big wing to the front. The little wing will go behind the breast like so. So you should have a little birdie like this with a breast, which mine doesn't have. The last thing we have to add to our bird is the little parakeet party beak. And that will go right between his, oh shoot, I'm too much glue. Below the eyes and like between. So he'll look like this.
So Lori, we should probably mention too that we wanted to spread the in colors around. So your bird might not be a Tahitian tide. Your bird might be a different color. So, but
true.
All the it's all
pieces are there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. All right, we're going to set our little bird aside, let him dry, and we're going to move on to the next part of our card. Next, we're going to take the large piece of designer series paper and attach it to the large piece of cardstock. And you can use your adhesive of choice. Of course, with liquid glue, that would give you a little time to move things around, but I'm going to use my seal adhesive.
This is going on here, right?
On that, yep. You should have about 1/8 of an inch border, and I just ran out of adhesive, so I'll use my liquid glue. So it goes on like that. Put a dimensional in each corner. And maybe one in the center. And it would be good to have my take your pick tool so I could get the backings off.
I have a take your pick tool.
Make sure you're putting it on your card. It doesn't really have a up or down, but I kind of like it so my flowers don't look like they're upside down. So your card should now look like this. The next step is to take the basic white piece that is stamped with the branch and the notes. We're going to add dimensionals to the back of our bird. And I think 3 dimensionals would work very nicely. And we can attach him on his feet. I think I have a bad batch of dimensionals. He goes right above the feet on the branch. Then we're going to take our small piece of designer series paper, and you can use either side. Add adhesive to the back. And apply it below the branch. It should line up with the bottom of the cardstock, the basic white cardstock. And it should be wide enough. So it should go like that. Then we're going to take our metallic woven ribbon. And you'll want to make sure that you lay your ribbon flat. You're going to wrap it around the basic white and tie in a bow. And I have the bow on the left. If you get frustrated with bows, tie it in a knot. Either way, it'll look pretty. I'm not having much success because I've got too much glue on my fingers. So I think I'm going to just tie a bow or a knot. No, my fingers are too gluey. I'm going to make a knot. Thanks. I don't think I've ever had so much difficulty making a card. It's all good. So if your bow is a little and your ribbon ends up being a little bit loose, you can always take a little glue dot and put it behind the knot to secure it in place. And you might want to have a scissors and just trim up your ends. So once you have this completed, we're going to add glue dots to the back, one in each corner again. And here you could put a dimensional to hold your metallic ribbon in place as well. But I'm actually, yeah. And then making sure your card opens the right way. You're going to center the bird in the center of your card, like so. To finish off your card, you've got a piece of basic white that you will add your adhesive to and add to the inside of your card. Allowing for equal borders. So that's my card. And
Lori, add your little greeting on the outside.
oh, yes. Thank you, Brenda. We have a little white tag that says a little note of thanks. And if you use 2 dimensionals, that should be more than enough to hold that in place. And those dimensionals can give me a trouble. And center it on the lower designer series paper piece. And so I have it in this color. I did it in the red.
Oh, look. at
My
it.
favorite.
Oh, cute. Oh, look at it.
So I hope you enjoyed making this card.
We're going to keep rolling along with a bit more of a catalog tour. Flip to page 42. And the reason that we've flagged this is not necessarily a particular set, but just noting that this is where the holiday section starts. I don't know about you, but come October, November, December, I am way too busy to even think about making holiday cards. So I love getting a jump start over the summer. And when it's 100 degrees in Dallas, you know, something about wintry cards is just fun as well. So the holiday section starts on page 42. And there's a few pages of sets that would be great for the holidays. But also I just want to note that the July to December 2022 mini catalog will be coming soon. You'll be able to order from that in July with a ton of really great holiday offerings. So you can be on the lookout for that as well. Then on page 57, 56 and 57, I guess, we have another suite collection. So again, as a suite, we have a stamp set, a set of dies, 12 by 12 designer series paper, and then some really pretty natural 7/8 inch ribbon. And the other thing that I want to note, in addition to this being a really pretty suite, Stampin' Up! Has actually used this suite as the basis for some new branded Stampin' Up! Merchandise. So both demonstrators and customers can order some Stampin' Up! Merchandise that, you know, says Stampin' Up! And also features some cool images inspired by this suite collection. we are going to jump all the way to page 94. And this is a really unique way of using stamps. And it's something that you could order a stamp set and have it for years and never think about using it in this way. So that's why we wanted to draw your attention to it. But certain stamp sets designated with the tulips icon are designed to be reversible. So you can actually stamp using both sides of that photopolymer stamp. On the one side, the more traditional side, you'll get that detailed image that you're probably accustomed to. But if you flip it over and mount the stamp on the other side, you'll get a solid image that's a little bit bigger than whatever that detailed image is. You could, in theory, do this with any stamp set, flip it over. But those stamp sets that are designated as the reversibles were designed more intentionally for this purpose. So you're more likely to get results that you like.
Gina, I'm just going to add one little comment here because Lori at our last team gathering showed us the Sweet Songbirds stamp set. The nest itself, you know, get the detailed nest, but and it's not designated as a reversible stamp set, but she flipped the nest over and then inked up her stamp, stamped it off, went to her cardstock to get the outline of the nest, cleaned her stamp, flipped it back over, and inked the detail part of the nest up and stamped over it, and it was adorable. So, like you said, other stamp sets you can do that same thing with.
All right, and then the last piece that I'm going to highlight for you is on pages 98 and 99. And this is another one of the sweet collections. I don't know if you can tell, but I love the sweets. They're so perfect, you know, coordinating items that all work perfectly together. But this one, Texture Chic, it's really pretty. And it's great for beginning stampers because the stamp set includes both images and greetings. There's some multi-step stamping, so you can add some dimension to that stamping as well. And just the variety of occasions that this would be great for. I mean, you have leaves and snowflakes and flowers and seashells, so lots of different possibilities for this. The other thing that I want to note is that the designer series paper in this suite, it's hard to see necessarily in the catalog, but it's designated as specialty designer series paper. And whenever that word specialty is included, there's something special about it. So in this case, there's some metallic elements within the designer series paper that just really add to the dimension and texture and give a little bit of extra pop to your cards. So with that, I will hand it over to Sue, who's going to continue the catalog tour. So don't put your catalogs away yet.
My first page on the catalog is the Hues of Happiness Suite, which is my absolute favorite. I love it very much. I like because the colors are so bright and springy and beautiful, and that's what I need right now. But again, the suite includes everything on this page. And what I wanted to show you quickly, because I did use one of those stamps for my demonstration, you get your dies, you get your stamps, and I always keep my little extras in here because these are from designer series paper, and your dies will cut the flowers out. And so they have 3 pages of wonderful images that you can actually cut out with your dies. And I thought I would show you very quickly a sample. Here's a sample of a card I made. This is cut out from the DSP. This is the DSP on those 2 pieces. And then again, a cutout in the middle. Just love this set. So that's page 109. And you can buy it individually, or you can buy it as a suite, or you can buy it as a bundle, which are stamps and dies. The next page we're going to is page 130. And this is where your designer series paper starts. They have 12 different designs, collections, and these are 12 by 12 sheets. And on the last page, you'll see that you have 5 different 6 by 6 sheets. This one also is a 6 by 6 with the teacups. And this one I say 5 because these are the in colors, and then you can get brights, neutrals, regals, or subtles in designer series paper. And a favorite thing that I have done since they started doing this, when I have enough to be a host, I always get this as my gift. It's 48 sheets of DSP, 2-sided, and you can only get this collection if you're a host. So that's something to think about when you're placing an order, especially with new catalogs coming out. You tend to get those bigger orders going. My next page is 137. And I'm going to highlight the slim envelopes. And you get 15 slimline envelopes in 3 different colors. And the insides are designed. And I started playing with a slim card using the ladybugs. But you can see what a fun design this can be, or with your new stamps, making fun slimline cards, something new to try. And then let's go to page 139. And this gives you a choice of 13 different kinds of paper. That isn't designer paper, but it gets into your foils, some brush stroke designs, some distressed gold, so it's not that smooth. The silver foil comes in 3 shades of silver. That's interesting. And now we have 2 selections for vellum paper that have designs already on them. So check out page 139 to see what other elements you can add to a card to make it even more interesting.
And I'm going to jump in, I'm going to share my screen, and I'm going to do a presentation on a new set of dies for you. So we have this new set of dies, and if you like to make little treat boxes to share at holidays and for events, we have this new set of dies called the Cracker and Treat Box dies. So let me show you what those dies look like. You get 10 dies, and it cuts out your treat box. And then it cuts out some labels, a couple tags, and then some cute little shapes that you can decorate your cracker treat box with. Really fun. And then Sue highlighted this, but I wanted to show you as well that for my presentation, I'll be using the Designer Daydream Designer Series paper that you can get using Stampin' Rewards. The colors are beautiful: Blackberry Bliss, Daffodil Delight, Mint Macaron, Old Olive, Petal Pink, and Pool Party. And the patterns are just really fun. Really, really fun. So think about that. Great, great value, as Sue said. Okay, so to make your treat box, I'm going to go through and show you how to make it. So you want to start out with a 6 by 5 inch piece of Designer Series paper, or it works with cardstock as well. And then when you die cut your treat box, as you saw with my little sample, black and white sample, this is the shape that you get. Now, when you assemble your treat box, you want to use a very strong adhesive. And for mine, I'm using tear and tape, but you could use multi-purpose liquid glue. That'll take a little longer to dry, or even your Stampin' Seal Plus. And where you want to apply it is in this little rectangle section. So that's like one section of your treat box. And then here at both ends of the treat box as well. Okay. So once you get the adhesive on there, then you want to use your bone folder and put crease your score lines. And you want to crease the score lines so that whatever side you want to be on the outside of your box is like this, right? So you're creasing towards the inside of your box. Or if you look at it all of these kind of created a mountain from the pretty side, the one that you went out. Okay. Then along the points here of this side of the diamond, there's a score line, and you want to crease that as well, again, towards the inside of your treat box. And I like to get this started with my fingers. It seems to work a little bit better. To get it started. And once I get it started, then I'm going to come back with my bone folder. I think I'll do it on this side so I don't catch any of those diamonds. I'm going to crease that as well. Okay. And then notice how the treat box has this like little cupped edge here towards the scallop. So for that, then there's another score line at the top of the diamond, and you want to, that's the one you want to fold the opposite direction. Again, I like to get it started with my fingers. Puts a nice little touch on that, I think. And then come back with my bone folder. Okay. All right, so now we can assemble the box. I'm going to take my, here's a little tip for you. I'm going to take my bone folder, and if you have trouble pulling that release paper off, if you burnish the release paper or the tear and tape with your bone folder, it seems to make this release paper come off a little easier. All right, so then we just line up one section with the other. Now, because it's a 5-sided box, you can't lay it down. You have to kind of hold it like this to get it on there. You get everything lined up, and I'm going to come back with my bone folder and again put a little pressure on there so that make sure we get good contact with the adhesive. Okay, and then you just take a little ribbon and it just ties it all in like that. Okay, so that's how you make that. But I want to show you another new product that I'm super excited about, and that is our masking paper. Our masking paper, so I should tell you that the cracker treat boxes are found on page 170, and the masking paper is found on 140. So you can use masking paper for many different purposes. I'm going to show you one today. So I'm going to use this stamp set to create my tag. And you might think, well, Brenda, limited edition, it looks like you would maybe use this stamp set more to put something on the back of your card so you can sign your name. And that's true. That's kind of how it's been designed. However, if you start looking at it closely, you can see, well, what if I just wanted the word love? I could use that, or a paper hug, or in this case, I want the just for you. Okay. So if you take your stamp and you mount it like you normally would, and then you cut yourself a piece of masking paper to the size that you need, and then you pull off the backing on that, it's tacky. Okay. And what you'll do is you'll just place this on the section that you don't want to have ink on it. Now, I would recommend cutting it a little bit longer so you have a handle. And then we grab our ink. In this case, I'm using Blackberry Bliss. And we ink up our stamp. Now, notice I'm not trying to like line up just the little section. I don't care. I'm going to ink up the whole thing. And so the masking paper covers up the portion I don't want stamped on my tag. And now I can stamp it down. And as you can see, all I get is the just for you. All right. And then when we die cut it, we have a little tag. And then I use my Label Me Fancy punch to punch the hole for my ribbon. Now, we have, before masking paper, we used other methods to do this same thing, but I'll tell you why I like this. I like the masking paper because the side that's not sticky, right? So the side that is up, that gets inky has a little coating on it, and it doesn't saturate and bleed through. I mean, I know it looks like it did, so you can see it, but it did not transfer. The bleed did not transfer onto my stamp. And I have done this many times now, and you can use this same mask multiple times without it becoming so saturated with ink that the ink will bleed through onto the stamp part of the stamp that you don't want.
Brenda,
Super
we have
fun.
a question in the chat section.
Yeah.
You put 2 of the treat boxes together to make a bigger box.
Well, I didn't try it. I didn't try that, but look what I did try though. That would be fun to try. I did say, well, what if I didn't want a 5-sided box, but I wanted a 4-sided box? Is that possible? And it is if you just cut off one section. Okay. Or what if I wanted a 3-sided box? That works too. I just cut off 2 sections. And I thought this might be kind of fun because of the way it sits. It'd be fun as like a place setting, you know, if you're having a party, put a little treat in there or not. But super fun.
I would guess then that you could put 2 together to make a bigger box.
Yeah, I just don't know how the ends would come together. You might end up with a little bit bigger hole on the end, but I think that would work.
Yeah.
Put a little tissue paper on either end. All right, I just have a couple more samples to show you. So because we're having a holiday coming up here, I thought, how fun would that be to make some little treat boxes for the 4th of July to hand out? And then when you die cut your treat box, you end up with all these little leftover diamonds. And because I cut my treat boxes out of designer series paper, I couldn't throw them away. So I decided to make a card. And then I put my little diamonds at the top of the card. So there you go, the cracker and treat boxes. And now I'm going to hand it off to Gina. Gina is going to help you put together your next make and take. So if you want to grab those make and take supplies.
Yes, thank you, Brenda. Here we go. Okay, so we will be using the He's the Man sweep for this make and take. That's on pages 78 and 79 of the catalog. And so just a couple things to note about this sweet collection. It includes a really fun stamp set called He's All That, a coordinating set of dies as well, some really fun designer series paper, and then the metallic dots that you see in a sample or on the sheet here. And of course, you'll get to use some of those with your make and take. So for this make and take, this is a quick and easy card. It is going to come together really quickly for you. So these are the pieces that you got. In terms of adhesive, you'll need Stampin' Seal or your multi-purpose liquid glue, whatever adhesive of choice, and then some dimensionals. Regular sized or mini will work just fine. But to start, I'm going to assemble everything that needs to be assembled using my Stampin' Seal. So starting with the most complicated part of this card, which isn't very complicated, you have your Cajun Craze cardstock and 4 squares of designer series paper. And we are just going to adhere the designer series paper on in whichever pattern you like. One thing to note about this pattern, there isn't necessarily a definite right side up to it. So I kind of just decided, I looked and I saw like which image was more central. And in this case, the basting brush seemed more central. Of course, I could turn it and, you know, have the flame be upright, but you can just kind of play around with how that looks. And the other thing is we'll be covering up part of it. So if I wanted, I could also switch that around. But this is cut so that there is 1/8 of an inch of a border and in the middle. But I always just kind of like to lay out my designer series paper before I start applying adhesive, just so that I can make sure that everything is going to line up approximately how I want it to. So you can go ahead and start adhering. Am I out of Stampin' Seal too? Lori, how did that happen to two of us?
I guess we just use a lot of Stampin' Seal.
All right, I'm going back to my tried and true fast fuse. One of the nice things about this design, you know, I always worry a little bit when I'm trying to get designer series paper perfectly laid out and matching in the middle. But we're going to cover up this middle portion. So if you don't have absolutely perfect placement, we'll be hiding that middle. So. As you get that completed, we are just going to take that assembly right away and add some adhesive to the back of it and put it right on our card front. So this is the Sahara Sand card base. Right now there's nothing in it. So as long as you make sure it opens in the right direction, you'll be all set. And I'm aiming for centering it top to bottom, and then left to right as well. The next step, we'll just take this very vanilla panel and adhere that to the inside of the card. The Sahara Sand is light enough that you could probably get away with just writing directly on it. But I always like to add a panel to the inside just so that it's easier to write on. And, you know, I think it looks a little bit more polished, but you could definitely go without if you wanted. And then we'll also take our stamped Holy Smokes, You're Amazing piece. I'll note that this piece and the Cajun Craze piece were both cut using the dies that are part of this suite. I'll just add a little adhesive to that and center that on the Cajun Craze die cut piece.
Gina, what's the name of this set again, please?
It is He's the Man is
Okay,
the
thank
suite.
you.
And it's on pages 78 and 79 in the catalog.
Thank you.
Of course. This greeting, we are going to pop up. So you can pull out either your regular or your mini Stampin' Dimensionals. I'm using the minis, so I'll probably use 5 of them. My little stamping assistant here is trying to join in the background. And then the last piece are these rustic metallic adhesive dots. And you received a total of 3. You might have gotten 2 large and 1 small, or 2 small and 1 large, but you can place those wherever you'd like on your card. I ended up doing a large and a small at the top right corner. And then I use the extra one. In this case, it's a large one, and just put that down near the bottom left. All right. And that is all there is to it. So really simple design. You know, it's quick to prep, it's quick to put together, but I thought this was a really fun way to use the designer series paper, and you could replicate this design with different patterns from this suite using the designer series paper, or really using any designer series paper of your choice. One of my favorite ways to design cards is to just switch up the colors and papers. So you could use this layout in lots of different ways.
Gina,
Yes.
on the designer series paper, I'm sorry if you mentioned this, but is the very first thing, are those stickers?
No, actually, I'm so glad you asked this because I should have thought to tell you this. They're actually like punch outs.
I didn't know
Okay.
that. I didn't pay
Yeah.
attention.
And you get 2 pages of them like this. So it's just a lot of fun elements that you could add to your cards. And there's no die cutting involved. You don't even have to have a die cutting machine. You just punch them out and embellish away. So yeah, I'm so glad you asked that question.
Well, we have one more section of our walking tour, and I'm going to turn that over to Lori. She's going to take you through the end of the catalog here.
So if you'll turn to page 157 and 158, these pages show our stamp cut and emboss machines, both the large and the mini. One thing that I should point out is that the magnetic cutting plate is now available for the large stamp cut and emboss machine, and the magnetic plate for the mini will be coming out very soon. And so if we turn the page to 158, Stampin' Up, this is new for them. They have paired the stamp cut and emboss machines with some stamp sets, stamp and die bundles. So if you don't have a mini embossing machine, you can now get it with one order number, and you'll get the stamp cut and emboss machine and either the stylish shapes, or you can get it with the Sending Smiles bundle. Both great for adding some texture and fun stuff to your card. And then the option number 3, of course, they've included an entire suite of product, the Sun Prints suite. So you'll get the designer series paper, the stamp set, the dies, and an embossing folder. So really a complete set to get you started.
So Lori, is that the number 3, is that, I think that's the large machine.
That is the large.
Yeah.
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 So they have 2 with the mini and 1 with the large. Yeah. So then we'll go to page 150. We're going backwards a little bit, but that's okay. On page 150, it starts the punch bundle with the stamp sets. If you don't want to invest in a stamp cut and emboss machine, this is a good way to still be able to add some nice die cuts to your projects. A little lower price point, and who doesn't like a punch? They're just so quick and easy when you're making your cards. And then if you turn to page 160, here we have an alphabetical listing of all of the die cut and stamp bundles. I'm not going to really highlight any, but you can see Stampin' Up! Offers a very large variety of stamp and die cuts. So no matter what your style is, I'm sure you'll find a die bundle that will work nicely for you. And then if we go to page 178, here we highlight the host rewards that are available. Now keep in mind, in order to qualify for host rewards, you need an order of $150, but it can be an individual order, or you can do a stamp event where you get your friends together and you are the hostess, and you would receive these benefits once your party is over $150. And if you have an interest in having a party or hosting a stamping event, just talk to your demonstrator. I know she would love to help you out and help you earn some of these wonderful, either the papers or the stamp sets. And keep in mind, these 3 stamp sets are only available as host rewards. And as Brenda showed you, this paper is gorgeous. So I think you should have a party just so you can get the paper. Just saying, it's gorgeous.
We just have a few more things. We want to let you know about ordering. So your demonstrator will contact you. If you would like to place an order from today's event, she'll contact you and let you know how to do that and all that kind of stuff. When filling out your wish list, besides the new catalog, be sure to check out the last chance list for the January to June mini catalog. This one, things are retiring, things are on special right now, and it'll end at the end of June. And as Gina mentioned, we'll have our new catalog, the holiday one, the July to December one coming up in December. So be sure not to miss out on any of these items that you might like. And speaking of wish list, we want to make sure that you get the best deal. So if your wish list, if you filled up your wish list, or as you start tallying the total of all the items that you have on your wish list, and that total is over $100, then your best deal is to think about becoming a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. The cool thing is that for $99, you get to pick out $125 worth of product, okay? And then anything you order after that, you get a discount on. It's like a coupon that doesn't end. And who doesn't like a good deal and who doesn't like a coupon? I think a lot of us probably joined because of the discount, right? We like to get our stamp supplies at a discounted price. But it goes beyond that. And every time we do an event like this or any event that are stamping related, it makes me stop and pause for a minute and realize that one of the biggest benefits is being part of a Stamping Up community and sharing of ideas. I mean, we wouldn't all be here today if we didn't have a shared love of paper crafting. And we'd love to answer questions about that because as you could tell by the number of years that we've all been around, it's something that we really, really do value and love to do. One of the benefits that joining with your demonstrator today is that you get to be part of Tulip's team, which is my team. And we do monthly virtual gatherings. And I want to invite you to our next one if you like to join us. And if you don't, that one doesn't work, you're welcome to join any one of our upcoming team gatherings and see what we do. We go over kind of what's happening with Stampin' Up. We do some celebrating if somebody has a birthday or who had top sales for the last month. If we have new team members, we also share what we've been stamping lately. And we usually have a demonstration or some make and takes. There's always some creative aspect to it as well. And we take turns teaching. I think that's all we have for you today. We want to thank you again for joining us. We really appreciate it. We hope you had enjoyed your time. After the event, we will be sending you the link so you can watch this back if you'd like to. And details about ordering. You'll also get your PDFs that shows you everything for your make and takes and the 2 demonstrations today. But again, thanks, ladies. We appreciate you joining us. And that concludes the formal. If you want to roll, you can sign off. Otherwise, we'll hang out for a little bit and we can answer some more questions for you.